Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Supplement Sunderday. Now if you're new with us, what I'm getting at Supplement Sunderday, every week I'm committing to do a video that lays out a supplement, and I will try and get that posted either Saturday or Sunday. So that is what that is all about. Now today, again, we're covering things that I was not taught in pharmacy school. We are talking about chromium. Chromium picolinate might be how you have seen it as a supplement on a shelf in your pharmacy, but we are talking about the importance of it and what it does in our body, okay? So let's start out with this, what it is. Well, like I said, it's a supplement. Now, it's a trace mineral. Now, trace minerals are minerals found in trace amounts, and they're found in our soil systems. Now, of course, in this day and age, they're much more depleted than they were in decades gone by, but that's what it is. Now, of course, chromium is also a heavy metal. If you were one of these science geeks, if you remember the periodic table, that would be an element on the periodic table. The fourth row to be exact, and the 24th element. So there you go. For all you who are like, I thought it was an element. Yes, you are correct. Okay, let's get into the next specific about chromium. Where it's found. Well, again, the safe form, which I'm saying the safe form is what we consume in foods. So that is chromium picolinate, which is a trivalent chromium. Okay, now where it's found in the foods that we eat are things like brewer's yeast would be super high in chromium. Another thing would be some vegetables like broccoli, green beans, lettuce. Calf liver would be another item on that list that is very high in chromium. And then some meats, specifically like turkey and beef. However, the manufacturing processes and the agricultural processes that we put our food up against before we actually get it to our table have a lot to do with what happens to those trace elements, okay? So again, we're not getting what we need from our food sources like our ancestors did, okay? Trace minerals are really important in the functions that go on our body. Fun fact, here's my fun fact in all this. Now, chromium also is used to make steel alloys. So in plating other metals, so that when you see a chrome finish, there you go. That's your fun fact for the day. Okay, now let's get on to how it works. Now, how does chromium actually work in our body? To me, this is the best way it was explained to me, and I'm gonna make it really basic here, okay? So we start out with a little story here. Once upon a time, you took your family on a vacation and you go to some small tourist town, okay? So you've got cars going down the street, people walking the sidewalks, little shops on each side of the street, a doorman opening that door into these shops. Now here's where you need to relay it to what's really going on, okay? So when we eat food, that is putting glucose in our system, right? Now, to balance out that glucose and actually get it into our cells, you need insulin, right? Okay, as we eat food, then insulin is released because insulin has to get that glucose into our cells for energy. Let's go back to our little town. When you eat a meal, it floods your system with glucose. That's all these cars and these people going down the street, right? Now, insulin is the doorman at your door. Insulin shows up. But chromium is the key, you guys. Chromium is the key that lets the doorman open that door into those shops, which are your cells. Does that make sense? So without chromium, insulin is there, but it can't get into the shop. It can't let that glucose into the shop. So what happens then in your system? Your body says, we need insulin. We need insulin to get that glucose into the cell to work, to do its job. So it tells the pancreas, create more insulin. There's a problem. You're not getting enough insulin in our system. And that's the wrong answer because the insulin's there. It's just not showing up to do its job. Okay? So think on that a minute. So that is really important. When you hear about people having insulin resistance, that's what that means. It means the insulin is resistant and it's not taking care of that glucose. It's not transporting it into the cell. That's that bridge to get it into our cell, okay? So that is what is going on. So it supports insulin resistance, chromium. You're not gonna get that. You're gonna be having insulin more sensitive to your system, and then it decreases the levels of insulin in your body. And that's a big, big deal. If you have got too much insulin floating around in your body, not doing its job, right? That's when we run into weight problems. That's when we run into cholesterol panel problems, brain problems, all kinds of issues, okay? Now, what it does, I kind of covered a little bit of that already, but what it does practically in our body, okay? Take all the science out of it. What is this gonna do for me? Why is chromium a big deal? You're telling me it's a trace mineral, tiny little amounts, micrograms. What is the big deal? Here's the big deal. Here's how that helps. So yes, insulin, big deal in appetite control, specifically when you come to sugar cravings. It's also gonna be helpful for when we talk about binge eating, okay? So it's just gonna decrease your appetite in that manner. It's gonna help with your arteries, like how healthy your arteries are on the inside. Helps with your cholesterol panel, with your lipid levels, okay? Oxidative stress, another big one. Glutathione. It actually regulates glutathione and increases the amount of that, and that is the most prevalent antioxidant we have in our liver. And that antioxidant has to do with oxidative stress and keeping your cells healthy. So it's a really big deal. And inflammation is another thing. Inflammation is the precursor to so many diseases. Do you see how this is all like woven together and tied together? This little trace element, this little trace mineral, okay? Now what to avoid? There really isn't too much again. Now antacids can decrease that absorption of chromium. So if you are an antacid user, you'd wanna space it from a chromium supplement, okay? But other than that, just because it improves your insulin sensitivity, you may, over time, need to decrease some meds if you are on meds for diabetes, okay? It may also affect the doses of insulin that you actually need to be putting into your body because the insulin that is already there is more sensitive, okay? Now, bottom line, let's talk Plexus. Bottom line, Slim. Slim, our signature cornerstone product, is rich in chromium. Now, that goes for both. So that goes for the hunger control and the microbiome activating. Chromium is a big deal in this product. So it just makes me sad when I see people get off their Slim. It makes me sad, especially people that do have inflammation issues, that have blood sugar issues, because blood sugar stability is just such a big deal. Gut health is such a, I can't hear you. You guys, it's a big, big deal. Blood sugar stability is a big, big deal. Gut health is a big, big deal, and it's all tied together. Okay, another thing that the chromium is in, but I'm gonna say was in, because it was the accelerated product. So if you have accelerator around your Plexus cabinet yet, that is also rich in chromium. Another product is the block. The block also has chromium. And of course, the block is gonna help with blocking sugars and carbs in our diet. So again, it's really marketing off the weight loss aspect of chromium, all right? And another thing, again, dare I say, this product is becoming pretty popular on my need to have list. The greens, you guys. I talked about it being in foods, right? The greens have fermented vegetables in there, broccoli specifically, and we talked about broccoli being a big one when it comes to chromium content. So yes, I dare say the greens. So those are the Plexus products on board that are rich in chromium, that help with all these baseline issues that people struggle with that lead to all kinds of disease over time. And insulin is a big deal. So There you go. What I did not learn in pharmacy school. We learn about drugs to treat all these issues, but isn't it great now we have a grasp on how to prevent some of these issues? Get these things in your diet. All right, that is all I have for today. I'm hoping that is really going to spur you on to get more educated about the Plexus line and what these ingredients can do for you. So here is to your health and happiness.